Okay, so we've got another deck profile here. This one it's Blue Sky Knights, so it's from Dragon Mode, and my buddy in this one is the Blue Sky Knights leader Crimson Arrow Dragon. So what we're going to do is take a couple of minutes and go through this. So we're going to start with the monsters, and we'll take them one by one and then come on to Crimson Arrow himself. So let's start with the level 1s. Blue Sky Knights came out in Great Clash, so there's not much of them yet, but there is a few. So the first one I run is 4 of the Blue Sky Knights Celestian Dragon. Quite a nice card. If this is played on the left or right and there's no monster in the centre, you gain a life. So this is quite a nice card if you've got, say, 1 or 2 in your hand. You can play it on the left, gain a life, play another one, gain another life. So you've got 2 life, but you do have to keep the centre open. So it's quite a nice card just to give you a bit of extra life. And quite nice in the deck. It's a core unit. The next one's for the defence, so if you play this one after him, this is called Iron Wing Dragon, Blue Sky Knights Iron Wing. Play 4 of this guy as well. This one's your defensive monsters. His crit is quite low, it's only 3,000, 1 crit and 6,000 defence, and that's where you really want to play him. Call your Celestian Dragon to the left or right, then afterwards call this one to the middle just to keep yourself covered up. Play 4 of him. Next one is Seeker Penguin Dragon. Now this one is a pretty much gummy slime in a dragon form. This one is designed to stop move of Sky Knights or any other monster with move ability, like some of the new Shadow Dragons from, or Black Dragons from Shadow Dragon mode. Now this one's 3,000 attack, 2 crit, 2,000 defense, so he's not really something you'd play in the middle, more to the side, but he is one of the few Sky Knight level 1s that actually does have 2 crit, so he is quite good to play. We play 3 of him, as he does help you with your damage as well. The next one is the last level 1. I only played 2 of this guy, but I'm thinking of changing that. And this is called, just check this, sorry about this guys, there's the little silver bits in the way. Din Media Dragon. Now this one has got quite a bit of attack power for level 1 for a Sky Knight. This is 5,000, 1 crit, 4,000. Play 2 of him, he's quite good on the side, just to clear out, and then if you've got Seeker Penguin, let him do the damage because of the higher crit, but use him to clear out your centre. So that's the level 1s. Done and dusted. Now the level 2s, there is literally just 2. First one is Drum. Okay, now Blue Sky Knights Drum is probably the nicest artwork out of all the drums, but he is the least flexible. So you pay 1 gauge to summon him. So in something like that, you put a Blue Sky Knight from your hand into cell. Brilliant, yeah, not a problem. 2 attacks, have to go through. And every time this one attacks, every time he attacks, you gain a life. That attack does not have to be successful, it's just the act of aggression and you gain a life. So it's quite a good card for just boosting a bit of life and holding your centre with the Soul Guard. In terms of his stats, 5,000 to 3,000, not the strongest defender. Would have been nice to see a 525, just because he hasn't obviously got the penetrate, Soul Guard and move like the Thunder Knight one has, but obviously we didn't get it with the Sky Knight version. That's the only downside. The next one is the other level 2, which I also play 4 of, which is Slash Eagle Dragon. Play 4 of this guy as well. Now this is probably the most aggressive one out of the level 2. 6,000 to crit, 3,000 defense. You play him on the left or the right with your centre open, you get a life. So he's quite good for gaining your life as well. That 6,000 does clear out most things, so you can clear it out if you've got Seeker Penguin on the field, or Sergeant Dragon, or any of the other ones, then you follow through from that. That is the downside I've found so far with Sky Knights, is just the lack of crit. It would be nice to see a couple coming out in the future with maybe a level 2 with 4 crit, like Battle Axe Dragon, just to kind of give this unit a bit more oomph. Now this one's my buddy, and this is the one that I also run 4 of. This one is Crimson Arrow. He's the leader of the Sky Knights. Now this one does have a little bit more flexibility. If you pay 2 gauge to call him, so you pay 2 gauge, if there's a card with Sky Knight in the graveyard, you basically get 2 life. Quite nice. On top of that, you'd also get Penetrate. So this one has 2 crit, 8,000 attack, 7,000 defense. The reason I chose him as my buddy is get him out as early as possible because he's the most powerful card in the unit, especially with that 2 penetration damage, but also you get 2 from the ability when there's a Sky Knight with in the drop zone, but also that gives you 3 life on the call, so that's quite a nice one just to boost your life up. Right, on to spells. So because of the lack of aggression, I've put in a couple of more destructive spells and impacts into this deck than my Thunder Knights deck. The first one is Drago Flame. For those of you who don't know it, 5,000 or less monster on the field is destroyed, no cool cost, so it's quite nice to start your field off. So you might have Eagle and another card. You've had to play with your centre open. If they've got a weak attacking monster in the centre, 5,000 left, you destroy it with no cool cost, and then that leaves up for you to just attack with your Sky Knights. Next one is Dragonic Charge. I only play one of these because gauge really isn't an issue, but sometimes it's just nice to have that one where you can just gain 2 very quickly for some of the impacts I run, because I do run 4 impacts, which for me is quite a lot in a deck because I don't think you usually need that many. Next one is I play 2 Dragonic Thunders. For those of you who don't know what this does, pay 1 gauge and destroy a size 1 or less on the field. Quite nice. It's not the most aggressive card, true, but it's nice if, say, you're being attacked by a size 2, and then activate this 1 gauge and destroy the next one, so that stops them having an attack. Or sometimes it could clear out that centre. I mean, if they had something like a Brass Shield Dragon or something with like 5,000 or 6,000 defence, it's a level 1, that clears it out quite nicely. Then we play some of my True Blue cards, as I call them. A lot of my Dragon World decks have these in them. Wraith of Dragon, just because of that extra defense and power on a counter, can be quite nice. So on counters with Drago Energy or some of the destructive spells, they have limits, like you can destroy a monster of 5,000 or less. Activate that, stops them being destroyed. Activate that, boost their defense up, stops them being destroyed. Or if you're just attacking, they activate Drago Shield, Drago Energy. Play that, increases your attack by 6,000. That's going to go through. Play 3 of those, just because any Dragon World card, really good card to have. Next one is Drago Energy. Play 3 of these as well. Same again, because it's just nice to have that. Someone's attacking your centre, increase your defence, counter attack, hopefully clear it open before your turn starts. We then play 4 Green Dragon Shield, good old trusty one. If your centre's played open, obviously nullify an attack, gain a life. Quite a handy card, one that every deck has. Because I play a few level 3s and a few level 2s that are quite core in this unit, I'd play 2 of the Dragon Barrier. For those of you who don't know what this is, it's a counter, stops level 2 or greater being destroyed on the field. So with my buddy, if he's attacked, I can play one of these, keep him in the field, which means he's obviously got to take another attack to be destroyed. 7,000 defense, that's not going to probably be likely on the second turn unless someone's got some really nice weaponry. But that means it gives you another turn with him with his penetrate attack, or stops you receiving damage because they've got to go through him twice. Right, next one I run is the weapons. I only run 1 weapon in this, but I run 4 cards of it, which is Drago Breach. Now, there is a Sky Knight sword, which is 4,000 attack and 2 crit. You gain an extra crit if you gain a life that turn. I do not play this because I think it's an absolutely atrocious card. 4,000 attack is pretty poor. 2 crit most of the time is pretty poor. I'd rather go with this one because you pay 1 gauge and 1 life. Sounds a bit harsh, but life isn't really that hard to give up. You could call your buddy monster, pay 1 of those 3 lives to equip this, and call one of your level 1 Celestian Dragons or Eagle, still equip this. So you've got your Eagle Celestian, that's 2 life, pay 1 of them, equips your weapon, but it always gives you the free kit and the 5000, so it just gives it a bit more attack if you need to link, or if you just want to follow up with something a bit heavy than 1 crit. Because with this deck you do find you've kind of got to leave the weapon till last to do the bulk of the damage, because the crit is very low on the actual monsters. Right, over to impacts. So what impacts do we run? Now I do actually run 2 of one of the newer ones, which is Dragonic Slash Arts Dual Moving Force. I run 2 of these. To me this is more like just a heavy duty spell rather than an impact. It doesn't do the most damage, but for the cost you get a lot of benefit. So you do your damage, you want to do a little bit of extra damage to your opponent, you pay 2 gauge, deal 2 damage, gain 2 life. That's quite a nice little swing, 2 cost for 2 damage, 2 life. Tops up your life, deals just that extra little bit of damage. So say for example you're playing Drago Breach, you may have your buddy on your left, you've cleared the centre and got a penetrate, you then basically attack for free, then paid another 2 gauge, attack for another 2 and gain 2 life. Quite a nice little combo. Plus impacts in this one are probably more useful than any other deck, because just the sheer lack of aggression from the Sky Knights, the impact cards do really need it. Gargantua Punisher. For those of you who've seen one of my other videos, this is one of my favourite Gargantua Punishers. It's the one I use in most of my decks. For those of you who don't know it, 4 gauge. If your opponent's on 4 life and neither of you have a monster in the centre, pay 4 gauge, deal 4 damage. Good ender. Because gauge isn't a problem for this deck, so there's very little that costs gauge to equip or to act. Usually you find you do run about 4 or 5, sometimes you up to 8 gauge, no problem. So because of that, I do actually run a Roaring / Gargantua Punisher, because sometimes I do find that is quite easy to pull off and finish the game early. So this deck I would say does need that extra aggression from the impacts and the weapons, because a lot of its monsters, like I said, so just to recap, so if we take out some core units just to show, so say Drum and Moo Penguin, or probably the one you're playing most, Sergeant Dragon. So say if you do call Drum, percentage Cell Guard, you're only looking at literally a 3 crit attack. Yeah, you get a life if you place on the right. Call this to the centre, you attack for 2, gain a life. So yeah, your life's not a problem. You can outlast your opponent as long as you can follow up with something like an impact to do that extra damage to finish him off quicker. And that is what it is about Sky Knights. I can't emphasise that enough. It's not like Thunder Knights where you have the crit, you have the move, you have the defense, you have all round good design, good deck performance. The Blue Sky Knights are more about outlasting your opponent, dealing more damage with your weapon and your impact and your spells, using their skills to gain your life to then outlast your opponent. Well, that was my Blue Sky Knights deck. Interested to see your feedback and hear your feedback. Hopefully that has helped someone. I will be doing another little movie soon regarding spell combinations for Dragon World. So stay tuned. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Take care.